Welcome, parents and children. We have been busy planning the phased wider opening of our school to Year 1, reception and Year 6 children. The safety and well-being of our children and our staff is our priority, and because of this we have made many changes to the school. Elsley looks very different to help us minimise any risks and help us with physical distancing. In this video, we're going to talk to you about some of the changes we now have in place. Year 1 will be the first year group that we will welcome back. They will attend for mornings only from Monday to Thursday. At the end of this video, we will give you some information and questions for you to consider to help you decide about whether you send your child to school at this point. If you choose to keep your child at home, you will not be penalised. The absence will be fully authorised, and Elsley will continue to support your child with distance learning. So here's what school will now look like. Let's start with when you arrive at school. Please try to walk, scoot or cycle. If necessary, drive in your own car, parking 5 to 10 minutes away and walking the last part. Using public transport is strongly discouraged. If you are going to be using public transport, you will need to allow extra time as they have reduced capacity. Use hand sanitizer regularly and do not touch your face until your hands are re-cleaned. The government has now made it necessary to wear a face mask on public transport. Children will be allocated an entrance gate and a specific line for drop-off and collection, either at the Berkhamsted Gate or Tockington Gate. The side gate from the London Road footpath will remain locked at all times. There are markings outside the school on pavements and roads with barriers to ensure that parents and children are lining up 2 metres apart when dropping off and collecting children. There is also a one-way system for pedestrians to ensure physical distance is maintained. It's essential that you are aware of the main COVID-19 symptoms and know to self-isolate if anyone in your home has symptoms. If anyone has symptoms, you must take a test. Every morning, parents will need to self-certify that their child and anyone in their household is free of any COVID-19 symptoms, and that if they develop symptoms, they will take a test and self-isolate. We are asking that parents bring their own pens to sign the register at drop-off. Parents and carers will not be able to enter the school site, and school leaders will manage the entrances. Children will be allocated a small group or bubble with up to 10 children. This will be led by a known adult, but it may not be their normal class teacher. Bubbles will be kept separate at all times to reduce risks of contact and possible transmission. We therefore cannot guarantee that your child will be with their friends or current classmates, but we will try our best. Children will remain in this bubble for the rest of the term. If anyone in their bubble tests positive for COVID-19, all the children and the adult will need to self-isolate for 14 days. As your child walks through the school, they will notice some visible changes. There are line markers around the school to ensure that children are walking 2 metre distance from each other. There will be minimum movement around the school. Children will spend the majority of their time in a designated classroom or in a specific area outside. Some other areas of our school will be blocked off from use. This will include climbing frames, the halls and studio, the computing suite, the library, and the music room. Toilets will be assigned to specific bubbles. Line markings outside the toilets are in place to help with orderly queuing at a 2 metre distance, and a maximum of 2 children may enter each time. Children may still go to the toilet when they need to throughout the day. The water fountains have been closed off, so children should bring their own drinking bottle. Teachers will have additional bottled water in class to refill the children's bottles as necessary. Once pupils have entered their designated class, they will wash their hands at the classroom sink or use hand sanitizer, which is also available in every classroom. The teachers will frequently remind pupils of hygiene rules, to cover any coughs or sneezes with their elbow, from hay fever for example, and to ensure that they use and throw tissues away appropriately. To wash hands for 20 seconds regularly throughout the day, especially before and after eating. Each child will have their own table which they will work at for the rest of the term. They will have their own equipment, so there will be no sharing of resources. Tables have been placed 2 meters apart with a designated teacher zone. There are markers on the classroom floor by each table for each child to sit on during carpet time. All classrooms will have been stripped of soft furnishings and any unnecessary clutter. This means that all hard surfaces can be thoroughly cleaned daily. All teaching activities have to happen taking physical distancing in mind. We will no longer have assemblies or break times where all the children could mix. We are placing a huge importance on the children's well-being. School will be very different and the world is very different. Teaching activities will allow time to support children through these times and may include circle time games, building relationships, and health and well-being, as well as core subjects like English and maths. Staff will try to spend more time teaching outdoors. This is weather dependent, but please make sure your child will be protected from the sun on hot days. All physical activity will be outside, taking physical distancing in mind. These sessions will be led by the allocated adult. Children will not mix with children in other bubbles. When the weather is wet, there will be no outdoor learning. Lunch will be handed out to the children at their allocated lunchtime. Our catering company Harrison's will prepare school lunches and serve them in individual biodegradable pots. Children will take their lunch home at the end of the morning learning session. They will be reminded about washing their hands before eating, and parents are reminded to make sure that all litter is responsibly thrown into a bin. At the end of the morning, children will be brought out of class and requested to line up in designated line spacing 2 meters apart at the same location that they lined up in the morning. Parents will also line up in the same place as they did in the morning, and a leader will call the name of the child through a walkie-talkie to the adult in charge of the bubble. If it rains, the children will stay in class instead of lining up outside and still be called through the walkie-talkie. The government have confirmed that families will not be penalised if you choose to keep your child at home this term. Elsley is committed to continuing to provide distance learning through Google Classrooms or the physical learning packs. We will continue to make telephone calls to check on children's welfare for all children in any year group who remain at home. If your child is in a year group that has been allowed to return, please consider the following factors when you decide about your child returning. 1. If your child has any identified health concerns. 2. If anyone living in your home has identified health concerns, is pregnant, is over 65, is obese, or are from Black, Asian and minority ethnic BAME backgrounds. 3. If you are able to walk, cycle or scoot to school or drive in your own car, park nearby and walk to school, or if you do, would need to take public transport. 4. Consider the physical distancing requirements that your child will need to adjust to in school. Children are seated at individual desks and will have no physical interaction with other children or adults. Compare this with your home environment and how well your child is engaging with distance learning to decide how beneficial it will be for your child to attend school. We are looking forward to welcoming Year 1, Reception and Year 6 children back, starting with Year 1. We will confirm the exact start dates shortly. If you have any further questions, please email us at admin@elsley.brent or ask the allocated staff member during your regular phone call. Thank you.